Have a look at this 12-digit number. 952,298,717,220. Do you believe you can memorize this number without having to cram it? Or think you can remember this number an hour after memorizing it? Well, you can, but not in the way you think. I'll show you 3 strategies you can employ to remember this number vividly and almost effortlessly. You'll also be able to remember this scary number backwards. Hi, I'm Nick Mema from ImpressiveMemory.com, and let's jump into today's video. The first strategy is chunking the number into groups of 2. Let's be honest, it's extremely difficult to remember this 12-digit number by saying 952 billion blah blah blah. It simply feels intimidating when you say the number out loud. But we can break down the number into chunks. Chunks of 2, in fact. When you do that, the number becomes 95, 22, 98, 71, 72, and 20. Suddenly, the number doesn't seem too big, right? It's easier to remember 95, 22, 98, and so on than it is for 952 billion, 229 million, and so on. But still, numbers are abstract by nature, meaning they don't make immediate sense to us. Chunking the number into tools also doesn't guarantee you'll vividly remember it. You need something else. You need strategy number 2, using the PEG method of memory. Basically, this is a memory system that uses memorable words to replace the numbers themselves. I've talked about this method extensively in previous videos. In fact, there's a playlist of these videos in the YouTube channel called How to Memorize Numbers Easily. It contains 14 videos talking mainly about the PEG method. I recommend watching part 14 of the series to see a list of memorable words for numbers 0 all the way to 99 if you're short on time. But for the sake of this video, I'll show you a list of the words I use to memorize numbers 0 to 99. It's also the reason why I chunk the 12-digit number into 2s. The first number is 95, and I use the word ball to stand for it. 22 is represented by none. Beef stands for 98. Cat represents 71. Gun stands for 72. And nose represents 20. Here's how it works. Instead of saying 71, I picture a cat for 71. A cat is something you can imagine inside your mind. A cat is more memorable than the word 71. The same for 98. Instead of trying to memorize the word 98, you imagine beef. Unless 98 is your lucky number, it's hard to remember it because numbers are abstract by nature. Now we have a list of memorable words for the 12-digit number. But we're still not there yet. We need something to help us memorize and recall the number from memory. Which brings me to strategy number 3, using your imagination crazily. We have our PEG words for the 12-digit number. 95 is ball, 22 is none, beef stands for 98, cat represents 71, 72 is gun, and 20 is nose. But how do we make sense of these words? When you look at them, you realize how random they are. Logically, they don't make any sense. But with your imagination, anything is possible. So, we'll create a silly and crazy story to link all these PEG words together. And you'll need every bit of your imagination to do so. Follow my crazy imagination to understand what I mean. I'll imagine a ball being kicked by a nun. I'll then imagine a nun eating some beef hungrily. Next, I'll imagine a cat eating a steak of beef. I'll then imagine the same cat holding a gun and pointing it at my nose. See how weird the story is? How none of it makes any sense? If not, Let's go over the story again, and this time we'll include the numbers as we do so. We imagined a ball being kicked by a nun. From that part of the story, you get 4 numbers. From ball, we get 95, and from nun, we get 22. Next, we imagine a nun eating some beef. This bit gives us the third peg word, beef, which is 98. To continue, we pictured a cat eating a stick of beef. This gives us the fourth peg word, cat, which represents 71. To finish off the strange story, we imagine the same cat holding a gun and pointing it at my nose. This last bit gives us 4 numbers. From gun we get 72, and from nose we get 20. So all you need to remember is this silly story, and just like that, you're able to memorize the 12-digit number with ease. This is easier than it looks. You'll use the same story we formed, only backwards. You start with nose, which represents 20. Putting it backwards, it becomes 02. What came before nose? Gun, which is 72, and 27 when put backwards. You do the same for all the peg words by traveling back in the story. This all happens through the power of your imagination. So the same 12-digit number backwards becomes 22,717,892,259. To conclude, at the start of the video, I asked if you could remember the number an hour after memorizing it. With the peg method and your imagination, you can. In fact, the story is so vivid simply because it's weird, and because of that, you remember more. If you repeat the story a couple of times in your mind, you'll have a hard time forgetting the number. And you know the best thing? You've actually memorized a 12-digit number. And if you do it backwards, it becomes a 24-digit number. That's amazing. You can learn more about the peg method by visiting the blog section of the website. Go to impressivememory.com/blog to learn more. Like and share this video around, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.